Ferguson. Let's get to it. By now, everybody should be aware of the situation, the circumstances that are now going on in Ferguson, I guess it's Missouri, right? Unarmed teenager once again shot and killed by a cop. Seems to be an epidemic over the last few years. What can we say? We want justice and we want it now. Now, with that said, the question becomes, how do we obtain justice? Now, we've gone through these scenarios before, and every time we've gone through these scenarios, we've done it the same exact way. Everybody remain calm. You know, pray to Jesus that he's going to do the right thing, and people will be brought to justice and all that. And it never pans out, right? Yo, don't nobody do nothing, just remain calm. Okay, so now fast forward to Ferguson. There are soldiers in Ferguson. There are stand-up people that are mad as hell and not going to take this crap anymore from the police department in their hood. These people are mad. Now, I did a show on a situation that happened here in Springfield, a racial situation between husband and wife and this lady. And the cry of the black community was that the husband and wife who were black, the black husband and wife who were black, should have remained calm. And this is what I said to that effect, right? You can sit here in a position of comfort and say what you would have and would not have done in a given situation. But let me tell you something. You have no idea where emotion is going to take you until you get there. How many times have I got to say this? Better people than you and I have succumbed to our emotions and done some wild ass shit that we thought we'd never do. Tell me I'm wrong. If you tell me I'm wrong, now show you a damn robot. Because we're human, right? We got emotions. Emotions take us places. Sometimes emotions take over. Okay, with that said, the mainstream media in this situation of Ferguson, in which we'll get to the real important stuff in a second. But I got to say this, because I'm not a news agency, right? I'm not a reporter. I'm just a guy with a camera telling you what's on my damn mind, right? And the things that are on my mind are not about looters. The mainstream media is how can I put this? They're taking us down a rabbit hole, if you will. Okay, away from what's important. Michael Brown got shot. Who shot him? Why? Will this person be charged? Why isn't he charged? Why don't we have his name until what? Yesterday they released his name, right? But I mean, we went some 5 days not knowing the name or the identity of this cop that shot this unarmed teen. Okay. While at the same time, the media took over and just started showing the looting and showing it over and over and over again during the news cycle like they always do. They tell the same story. They might have something new that comes up. Okay? Come on, man. Here's the thing about looting. Whenever you have a situation such as this, rioting, civil unrest, it's going to be looters. Looting is the spoils of war. This is a war. Do you understand? You tell me any battle in history that we studied from school and yada yada yada, that there was no looting going on. You show me any civil unrest where the people that were being civilly unrested, if I can say that, right, did things by the book, remain calm. You know what I mean? oh yeah, don't destroy the same stuff that's in your neighborhood. I'm so ashamed of that. Well, you sit there and be ashamed because you're in a position of comfort. You're not on the theater. You're not in the battle zone. Do you understand? You're not on the front line. You have no idea where the emotion is taking these people. And let me tell you something else about them tearing up what's in their hood. They don't own nothing there. They don't even own the house they live in. They're renters. Someone else owns it. So here's the logic. I don't own that. White person owns that. White person shot Mike Brown. They got to pay. They got to have a consequence. I'm taking his shit. That's the mentality. Who says that mentality is right or wrong? This is war. And if you don't think it's war, by now, you need to check your mindset. You understand what I'm saying? Because right now, people, we are in a war and have been for quite some time. It's just that the people of Ferguson are the first ones to stand up. You understand? They're the first ones. They're tired of the brutality in their neighborhood. They're tired of the racism coming from the cops in their neighborhood. They don't feel safe when the cops come around. There's tension. Do you understand? Racial tension. Different remarks back and forth from the so-called city's finest. Finest at what? Terrorism? Because they're pretty damn good at that. So anyway, let's get to the meat of the subject. If you can remember back to the Trayvon Martin trial, right? Innocent kid walking home, minding his own, and I really want to cuss right now, but I'm going to keep it clean. Okay? But minding his own friggin' business, right? Talking to a girl on the phone, listening to some music, walking home in the rain, just trying to get home. And here comes this racist idiot that says, of course, I'm not racist. Who the hell gonna believe that shit? You know what I mean? Here comes this racist idiot, sees him, profiles him, calls the cops, follows him, starts an altercation, and shoots him. You know what I mean? And then shoots him. What's the first thing niggas cry? Remain calm. Had the people of Florida done what these soldiers are doing right now in Ferguson, had they did that with Trayvon, and I said this when it was happening. I said this when it was happening. Had they pitched a bitch and tore some shit up, the trial would have had a very different outcome. Why? Because for everything that we do in this life, there is a consequence, whether it be good or bad. You understand? A consequence. You can't just do anything you want in this life and not have something come back at you. Maybe a reward or maybe punishment in your just due. They let that maniac walk. He's been arrested, 3 or 4 times since. Charged with the same crap, falls short from shooting somebody. But he pointed his gun at somebody again. Do you understand? When you do things and you think you're being super Christian, turning the other cheek, or super house Negro, I'm in the political system now, we need to do things decently and in order. You do nothing but tie hands and keep us under control and remaining in captivity and victims of their aggression. And let's talk about the aggression for a second. See, because all the reports that I get, if and when I choose to look at mainstream media, okay, it's always focused on the violent act of the protesters. And the police had to come and stop this. But see, I'm also following this thing on Twitter, where you get real-time tweets from people that are right there on in the front line, actually watching it happen. And it's totally different from the story that they're telling on TV. Do you understand? There are even videos of the protesters in a calm state. Do you understand? Caring for each other, standing.
What's going on, man? This Corey. We checking in live from what they call Ground Zero. And we got 2 very special people with us right here today. The media would make it seem like it's chaotic. The media would make it seem like the people are not coming together. And what we see is we got a guy named Chef He out here providing free food for the protesters. We got free food, free water, they got chips, they got bathrooms out here. This is Tanya, this is his right-hand lady, his publicist. And so we had a couple of questions, man. It's not very often that you see people that's willing to give and they're not looking for anything in return. What made you do something like that?
Well, basically, this is my way of giving back. I'm not a looter. I don't do a lot of walking, but I love to cook. And I know what better else to bring people together, peaceful people together, than food. And so I put it out on Facebook to my groups that I'm in. I'm like, hey, I want to cook for the protesters, even the police. And I need you all to help me.
And we don't want the protesters to go home. We want them to stay out here. We want to provide nourishment for them so they can stay strong and stand up for what we believe in. So I think that's important to us as a community.
Exactly. And as you can see behind us, this is the result. I mean, we've been here since 9. We thought we were going to run out of food, but we haven't ran out of food yet. And
we've been getting donations from the community.
Everybody.
People have been dropping off everything, like toothpaste, deodorant, food, just tons and tons of support from the community. From all over, not from just St. Louis, but from Atlanta.
Every color.
Every color. It's very diverse. So.
They just show Negroes running in and out of store grabbing shit and then putting a bullshit story behind it. So tired of that crap, is crazy. You want the real story? Go on Twitter. Hashtag Ferguson, right? Or Antonio French, okay, who was an alderman down in Ferguson. You know, he's a leader, and he's chronicling this situation every day on Twitter. He's keeping us up to date because the mainstream media, who is not your friend, I feel like Sarah Palin right now, right? Who are not your friend. I'm not giving you the real. If you want the real, you do that. Now, let's look at perspective, the different perspectives here. You have the so-called, and this is what they've been called, thugs, violent thugs of Ferguson, walking down the street, chanting words real loud, angrily, right? But they're just walking down the street. You understand? Now let's go back a little bit to these clowns over on the Bundy Ranch. Do you understand that I have seen video of snipers with their weapons, their rifles, trained on the police while they stood there in front of the armed people on the Bundy Ranch, and there was not one thing done aggressively towards these people who happen to be all white?
You part of one of the militia groups?
No, just independent.
Just independent down here?
From a county civil defense unit.
Okay. What does this mean? What does this victory for the Bundys mean, do you think?
I think it means a lot, but it needs to keep happening. Mm-hmm. We need to keep matching show of force. There's a rancher in Texas right now, under threat from the BLM. 90,000 acres on the Red River they're trying to take from him right now. You know, if you're in Texas, go there. Get on a bridge. Show them force.
Do you think we saw some younger people down there look like they might have been children? Do you think that was wise to have those kids down there? Do you think this could have turned dangerous?
The only thing that kept them from getting gassed. They threatened to shoot chemicals into that crowd.
Do you think that it was good to have the kids down there then?
Absolutely.
Do you think it was dangerous? Do you think this could have potentially turned violent?
Absolutely.
Let me put this in perspective. You got a so-called angry, thuggish mob of black people walking down the street, and you tear gas them, and you fire rubber bullets at point blank range, right? Do you understand? You call them animals. Do you understand? You arrest people for not moving fast enough to your idiotic commands. Do you understand? Oh well, we got to disperse the angry crowd. Why didn't you disperse anybody on the Bundy Ranch? They were squatting illegally. They had already broken the law.
This is madness, man. You can't have people pointing weapons at cops, let alone the Bureau of Land Management. This is not acceptable. I mean, look at that. Look at that heavy weaponry. Those are not. So now that's the Bureau of Land Management. But before, That's militia. What do they do? What are they? This is a war in the middle of our country? That's what they're ready for? And they get to point it at cops and federal agents? And second of all, I mean, I keep saying it because it's so true. Imagine if instead of all those guns you saw there with white folks, that was black folks in the middle of, let's say, inner city Philly, and they got those same kind of weapons, and they're hiding behind bunkers like that and pointing it at cops and then pointing it at federal agents. You don't think they would be disarmed immediately? Come on. Look, I don't care how right-wing you are, you can't believe that. You know if they were black that their ass would have been taken down so hard. There would have been no pausing. They wouldn't have taken off the Bureau of Land Management or whatever other federal agency from their cars because they're like, oh, we don't want to offend the black people with guns. That's not how it would have gone down.
So that's a disparity, okay, between this thing. But back to Ferguson, right? Now we have the situation where unarmed black teen viciously murdered, shot 6 to 8 times, okay, twice in the head, once on top of the head. Do you understand? This is execution style murder. This is not a police apprehending a criminal. So what the police decided to do was the same tactic that was done in the Trayvon Martin issue, trial, whatever you want to call it. We have to demonize the little black kid. We have to make our people hate him so they would then identify and sympathize with what we went through, and every story that we tell from that point on will be easier for them to believe. If we just make him look like a gangster thug. They do it every time. They do it all the time. So essentially what that does is that puts the prosecution back on their heels, and now they have to defend the character of the victim, okay, instead of prosecuting the aggressor or the accused. And this man hasn't even been accused yet. He hasn't been accused yet or charged. He just gave us his name.
Don't shoot. Everything about this smells cover up.
The officer that was involved in the shooting of Michael Brown was Darren Wilson.
It took them nearly a week, and the fighting over this incident nearly tore this city in two. But today, Ferguson City Police are finally sharing that it was 28-year-old police officer Darren Wilson who shot and killed this unarmed black teenager Saturday afternoon.
He's been a police officer for 6 years, has had no disciplinary action taken against him.
At this family home in St. Louis, where neighbors believe Wilson lives, the families next door say he left the area early this week. Police didn't give us a picture, but they are sharing this one. They tell us that's Michael Brown, the young man the officer killed in the middle of what police called a strong-arm robbery just 15 minutes before the shooting. The surveillance video from 3 cameras in this liquor store show him in the same red ball cap and white T-shirt that police say he was wearing when he was killed. Here, grabbing boxes of cigars, then shoving the manager who went after Brown and his friend, Dorian Johnson. Tonight, Johnson's lawyer is confirming the robbery. Today, police said that at the time of the shooting, Wilson didn't know the teen was a suspect. But in his initial police report, Officer Wilson says he was given a description by dispatch of a black male in a white T-shirt.
That was no robbery.
Many black families here are refusing to believe this story.
I could be unarmed, get out the car, they gonna shoot me, and then say I tried to rob, or they thought I tried to rob somebody. Oh no, man, it's crazy.
Telling me even if it's true, the officer had no right to shoot the young man dead.
It's gonna happen to another black person.
State Highway Patrol Captain Ron Johnson, a son of this city, had made such a difference Thursday, walking side by side with protesters. Today, he felt caught off guard by the revelations.
I think there are some concerns that reference the release of the information in a videotape. I'm going to have some conversations with the police chief here shortly.
The teen's family says they are beyond outraged.
Whatever that took place there had nothing to do with an individual getting down on his hands and knees, raising his hands in the air and saying, "Don't shoot."
They're calling this a character assassination. The police say their officer is in a safe place tonight. David?
Well, Steve, you've been there in Ferguson all week for us, bringing us those images from scenes like this one with police facing off with protesters. And of course, there was the state police captain taking charge, instead hugging some of the protesters. So as we head into this weekend, where do things stand?
Well, right now we're expecting, of course, people to be out here through the night, and we're also really sort of hopeful that it will remain quiet as it was last night. The police saying that you can get a lot more done through peace and understanding. David.
All right. Great reporting from Steve Osunsami every night this week. Steve, thank you.
Turn now to the latest from Ferguson. The curfew there lifted overnight, but the protests and violence not ending. President Obama has dispatched Attorney General Eric Holder to Missouri. He's going to be there tomorrow. And this morning, we're hearing from a friend of the officer who shot Michael Brown. ABC Steve Osunsami is on the scene right now. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, George. The start of school here has been delayed yet another week. At night, the police here have a new tactic with demonstrators, forcing them to keep moving, no standing still. 31 people were arrested last night alone, and police say many of them were from out of state. Overnight, the sound of smoke bombs and the smell of tear gas filled the night over Ferguson. Police set off ear-piercing sirens against the crowds after they say rocks and bottles came flying.
In the dark of night, at least 2 people shot. Not a single bullet fired by officers, despite coming under heavy attack.
The curfew lifted, but police in riot gear in full effect. They arrested 31 people, including some demonstrators who wouldn't keep moving. The state's governor sent in the Missouri National Guard, troops with guns on the roofs of grocery stores, their armored vehicles guarding the police staging area.
Hands up, don't shoot, don't shoot.
Overnight protests broke out in New York City and Atlanta, too, all calling for justice more than a week after the shooting of Michael Brown. And this morning, a first. We're now hearing from a good friend of Ferguson City Police Officer Darren Wilson, who shot and killed the unarmed teen.
I have exchanged text messages with him just as of a few days ago. I can tell that he's struggling. You know, I can tell that this is really hard on him.
The friend is so concerned for his own safety, he asked us to conceal his face for this interview. He wouldn't speak about the shooting, but says he and Wilson played hockey for years, and he never saw his friend fight.
He's a really quiet guy. He is just really well-mannered. He is very respectful.
Prosecutors here say they could present their case to a grand jury as early as this week to determine if there will be charges. George?
Okay.
So, the soldiers in Ferguson, through all this, I applaud them. I applaud those people because they have more guts than anyone around this country, including you and I, because they initiated the plan. We're mad as hell. We're not going to take this shit anymore. I'm not remaining calm, even after this boy's grandfather got on TV like a damn clown in demagogue. I understand his hurt. But dude, this legal system that you are trying to put your trust in, like the Davises and the Martins put their trust in, is not designed with us in mind, or was not designed with us in mind. Do you understand? It is not sympathetic to the black cause, or black people, or people of color, for that matter. For that matter. You understand? It is designed, okay, to emphasize and actually, for lack of a better word, collaborate. Whatever the officer tells what happened is your word against his, and they're even going against video. Eric Garner. You understand? That officer has still not been charged, still not been arrested. He was sent, well, no, he wasn't sent home. He was put on a desk job. So he's still working, drawing a paycheck. And now that Ferguson is happening, he's there in the back seat right now. You know, nobody's thinking about them. You got to wake up, man. You got to stop taking things in stride. You got to stop thinking that everything these cops say is true. I put out 4 documentaries, right? I really hate to say the word documentaries because the content was not mine, okay? But it was a conglomeration of YouTube documentaries on police brutality. I I only touched the surface. There are billions of videos on YouTube documenting these people and their activities when they don't think anyone's watching. They hate cameras. You feel me? They hate cameras. Because cameras tell the story. But we're believing them. Oh, he took a fighting stance and he reached for my gun. That is the most clownish thing I have ever heard in my freaking life. Do you understand? He reached for my gun. He reached for my gun. I just don't understand it. Okay, let's try this. Maybe he was reaching for your gun to try to keep it in the holster before you pulled it out and shot his ass. That makes sense, more sense to me than him trying to reach for your gun and take it so your life was in fear. We have the most fearful, what word can I use? Because I'm starting to get really, really hot right now. We have the scaredest cops in history. Because every cop, whenever they pull up on any instance of an issue, they're always in fear of their life. What the do you got to be scared of? You are completely armed. And if that, whatever you're armed with is not enough, you have a radio at your disposal that you can call on your boys, your gang, your buddies to come in and thump heads at a moment's notice. What are you scared of? Tell me. What are you scared of? Why should I sympathize with you when you're the aggressor? Do you understand? You talk to people when you run up on them any old kind of way. You know, I wouldn't let most niggas talk to me on the street the way you talk to people. And I'm damn sure not going to let you talk to me that way because I'm a smart, intelligent black man and I know my rights. You start up a conversation like that, brother, it's on. And like one brother said in the video, I'm on defense. You understand? I'm ready for when you start to swing and shit. I got some shit for you. And guarantee you I'll probably lose the fight, but I'm going to put my point across on a couple of you bastards before I go down. You understand? That shit's going to happen. I'm not going to stand there and be a victim to your aggression. I'm not going to stand there and let you do and say to me what you want and what you feel and remain silent. You understand? That's not in my nature. This is not me. I run my mouth. I run my mouth a lot. And when I run my mouth, I'm damn sure ready to back up whatever the fuck comes back for me. You understand? So, that's what it is. So the people of Ferguson, they're tired of this mess. What I'm tired of is that our people can't get behind these people 100% because whatever they do is going to benefit us. Do you understand? It's going to benefit us, whatever they do. Because they're making a statement. I have been ranting on Facebook for roughly about the last 2 months that there needs to be a consequence now. We can't just keep marching. I mean, come on, man. Marching is a joke. Do you understand? We can't keep letting these I don't want to call it names, but these so-called black leaders, right? These so-called black leaders that always seem to come out of the woodwork when something like this comes up, right? And start saying, I remain calm. We're going to march on Washington. Or we're going to demand this, we're going to demand that. So, we've been doing that for the last 100 years. It ain't got us nothing. Nobody wants that mess no more. You're redirecting our anger, our energy, to a place where it's going to be ineffective. You understand? We're a place where it's not going to make any difference. When we should take that energy, raw, and whatever comes out of that energy, we apply it. And that's their consequence. People get hurt. There are always casualties of war. Always on both sides. It ain't just one side that has victims. Both sides does. Case in point. Anonymous that has been helping us out in this situation in Ferguson released the name and picture of who they thought was the shooter. I gotta tell you, I still believe them guys. I don't believe this guy, Dave Wilson, is the one. I believe the one that they showed is the one. But it is what it is. So let's say David, whatever his name is, I don't even know his name, right? He's the one that shot, right? Anonymous releases the picture of the wrong guy. I posted, when someone asked me on Facebook when I posted that picture, I told them, they asked me, am I sure it's the real guy? I said, who can be sure? You know what I mean? But this is the truth. This is a war. And if this guy isn't the real guy and something happened to him, then he becomes a casualty of war. Do you understand? Because in order to get for that man's safety to be recognized, the chief of police in Ferguson should have released the name of the officer that shot and killed Michael Brown. There was no reason for him to hold that information. None whatsoever, other than the fact that they're protecting this man, and now they're trying to come up with some type of scenario that would justify his shooting, i.e. the demonization of Michael Brown that's going on right now. They released, instead of releasing the cop's name and picture, I'm quite sure you're aware of it now, they released Michael Brown, so-called strong-arming people in the store and running. I mean, this is a big kid, dude. You know what I mean? He uses his size to his advantage. The guy, the owner of the store, for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, I wasn't there, but for whatever reason, he just chose to confront this kid. Michael Brown could have beat that kid down and beat that man down right there on the spot. What he did was, he sized up to him and said, dude, you better back off. You understand? So now they're taking that video and saying, he's a thug, he's all this, you know, he's no victim. The officer had every right to shoot this man because he was just a huge black man, and like Eric Gardner, we just needed help taking him down. I had no help at my disposal at the time, Your Honor, so I pulled out my gun and I shot him 50 times in the face just to make sure. I just wanted to be sure, Your Honor. You know what Your Honor says? Case closed, self-defense. You may go. Nothing to see here. The officer was justified. Without what's going on in Ferguson right now, that would have been a reality. Just like it was a reality in the Trayvon Martin killing. Just like it's a reality in the Troy Davis fiasco. They killed the wrong guy. Okay, Jordan Davis kind of lucked out. They threw race out in his trial too, right? But the people on the jury, it was too much. But you know what? What I found interesting. As far as I know, and I haven't checked back on this case, Michael Dunn was convicted for firing in the car, endangering the lives of everybody else but Jordan Davis. On the count that he murdered Jordan Davis, they were hung. They didn't come to agreement on that, and I don't know if they're going to retry that or not. You see what I mean? Even by doing that, by not convicting him of murdering Jordan Davis, Michael Dunn set a precedent for any other racist out there that wants to do this, and that would be a precedent. They will use that in court. So that's one up for them. So, had we pitched a bitch and tore some stuff up when Trayvon was shot, and after they read the verdict releasing George Zimmerman, we might not be here.
Killed him for no reason. Everybody live from Ferguson. They just killed this nigga for no reason.
For no fucking reason. I'm breaking my motherfucking legs. Fuck this. They straight killed that boy for no motherfucking reason. She talking about some fireworks.
I heard not this time of the day. Wasn't no fireworks this early.
I'm in the bathroom in the shower. You not finna.
What he do? What dude do?
Do you see a gun? Do you see a knife? Do you see anything that would have caused a threat to these motherfucking police officers? They shot that boy because they wanted to shoot that boy.
Hold on, what? Wait a minute, they just killed dude.
In the middle of the motherfucking street. That's why they have you killed now. That's why
What's up, Steve?
they ain't have no reason. That's why they asked him pop now. For real. You can't even be black and walk around this motherfucking boy ain't we gonna go out together.
Dang, he dead as a motherfucker.
Mom.
Dead body in the street. Ferguson clown killed this nigga for no reason. man. Come detail. Come homicide pulling up. Homicide pulling up. They say I got this shit taped off. I heard the gunshots came outside my phone. That's nigga laying in the middle of the street dead. Brains all on the motherfucking street. I wish I could zoom this motherfucker in. I ain't gonna cross this yellow tape, this gun line, boss. Fucked up around here. That's his son, man. That man dead, man. He dead. He dead, cuz. See what shit you get to see fuck with me. Yeah, that's fucked up, man. They said he had his hands up and everything, man.
They was trying to get at him?
I don't know. I wasn't out here. I just heard the gunshot.
I heard the gunshots from all around. They all went up.
Yeah. I knew something happened. It's too early in the day.
Who is the? Do he stay here?
No, it was his daddy right there, man. His daddy just tried to go there and they grabbed him. They in that black t-shirt police talking to. And that's his auntie right there on the phone. And them screws. Yeah, boy, that's a dirty
that
motherfucker.
shit, man.
That's a dirty motherfucker.
I saw the car.
That's fucked up, man. That's fucked up, dog. Yeah, he gone. He gone. He gone.
He stood over me.
Yeah, and shot him some more when he was on the ground. Yeah, that's what they said. Shot him some more while he was on the ground. Police killed dude. Police killed him, yeah. Said he had his hands up and everything. They still shot him. He fell on the ground. They stood over him, shot him some more. They just got him laying in the street dead as a motherfucker. Just got him laying here. You know Ambulance, he gone. Yeah, he gone. World star.
That's what I went back in. That's the one that ran behind this right here. Because he ran up there where we was at, where we live at. When I came back outside, I was seeing that truck right there. I don't know what happened. So I had everything right there. That's his head. I don't know how he get from down here. Because he ran. Police was still in the truck. They came this way? Oh, yeah. They got still in the truck. Like, I don't know. Running this way? Why his body come this way though? In that truck. Yeah. He like over the truck right now. So then he ran. Police got out, ran out. The next thing I know, he coming back towards me. Police had the gun involved already.
They got to eat. I ain't dead. I got to eat.
Kept dumping him. I'm thinking that he's missing. Like he's like.
Lord rest his soul. He gone.
This one dumping him.
There go his mama, I guess.
At least 5 shots. Next thing I know, I'm thinking he's missing. The police shot him. Next thing I know, I'm thinking he's missing.
know. I don't know. You can get out on this side down now. It's over. Go all the way around? Yeah, you go around that way.
Did the police shoot this boy for real, man?
Yeah, police shot him, man. Police did.
Are you fucking serious, man? Police killed this boy. I'm telling you, I heard like 8 shots. It was like 4, and then it was like 4 more. It was like, pop, stop for a minute. Police out there. How many times you heard that? Like, at least 10 years. I'm thinking, you still standing. I'm thinking, he kept going towards him. What's up, man? I thought it was a nigga dumping at him or something. They know he dead because they ain't even trying to give him
he down.
They ain't trying to give him the EMS going back to the
She finna come make us move and shit, I guess. On that white sheet.
See, because when there is a consequence, you know, people think about some stuff and they tend to do stuff differently than before when they did it before, right? I have been saying that there needs to be a consequence, a physical consequence, and here it is. Well, nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to get arrested. Nobody wants to, you know, lose anything out of this. But guess what? This is a freaking war. And in war, you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your comfort, maybe some material things, maybe even your life. Do you understand? Because I have grandkids. My kids are grown now. But they have kids. We have to make sure that those kids have a proper chance to grow up in a safe environment. We can't send these kids out here knowing that there's predators out there, just waiting for an opportunity to kill them, or incarcerate them, or beat them. No, you got to sacrifice something to make sure that their environment is safe. And I am putting myself up for sacrifice now. I'm 56 years old. I've lived a life, whether it be good, bad, or whatever, but my life is just about done. The freak am I hanging on to? I'm going to make sure that my grandkids have the same opportunity that I had to walk around these streets free and safe. So the protesters in Ferguson already made up their mind what they were going to sacrifice. These people got jobs. These people have material things. These aren't just some shirtless, out of control people with blind rage. They don't have blind rage. They are focused. You know who has blind rage? Racist ass America has blind rage. The cop that shot Michael Brown had blind rage. The mainstream media that is taking the focus off of the cop and Michael Brown and put the focus on the rioters and the looters, they have blind rage. Do you understand? The focus here. The focus here is on Michael Brown, who shot him and why. That's the focus. That's the only thing we need to pay attention to. So now that the people in Ferguson are offering a consequence right before your eyes. You see things are being done differently now. There's great concern. We're on day 9. The Watts riot, what, took 6 days? Other riots? We're on day 9, so this is history. We're on day 9. Day 9 of an inconvenience to white people. Day 9 with a threat against white people. That if you don't do the right thing, this ain't nothing. This is the tip of the damn candle, iceberg, whatever. Because I guarantee you there'll be a bigger consequence. Y'all let this white man go free. And chances are, when that consequence comes, we're going to be armed. And we're going to be in your neighborhood. We're not going to be in ours. So thank you for letting me rant. Thank you for letting me get this off my chest. I'm Nate Patterson. Thank you for listening to Voice.